Hello. So today's video is going to be about game theory and prisoner's dilemma. I think it's a really fun topic, so I think you'll enjoy it. Let's get right to it. And for today's activity, I need you to be able to write down something to keep track of something. So if you have something not available right now, you can pause the video and grab a sheet of paper. But let's jump right to it. Okay. So what is game theory? So when when we talk about game theory or game in this context, doesn't mean games like Call of Duty or Animal Crossing. Um, what I mean by game is something where you make choices and your choices depends on other people's choices as well. So your reward or punishment might depend on the interaction between you and other players in the game. It's basically how to make rational decisions, right? So that's what it's about. Um, just to get started, I kind of want to direct you to this YouTube video about this game show called Golden Balls. I think it's really interesting. So if you open up the worksheet, there's a link available. If you press Control and click, you can get to the video. Um, if you click, you'll get to this YouTube video, and it's set up so that it'll start right at the point where the explanation of the game and what these players do, which is very interesting. So you can pause this video and watch this video, please. I'm not gonna play a video inside a video. That's silly. um, okay, so please take the time to do it. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. But it was so basically what happened in the clip was that one of the player lied about the choices that he was gonna make. Um, but what game theories is about, I want to emphasize is that what decision you should make when the opponents are being as rational as possible. That means that they're not making decisions to hurt themselves when because to get back at someone or something. So I, I think psychology has a little bit to say about that. But the general assumption in game theory is that opponents are very rational, logical, they're very smart, and they're looking at the data, and they're making the choices that benefits them the most. In particular, game theory is not about tricking the opponents or making some assumptions about how smart they are or them not making optimal decisions or trying to hide, trying to surprise them by choosing something that's unexpected. So although that video had some of those components, the actual mathematics of game theory is about making the rational decisions when other people are as smart as they can be. So I don't want to misrepresent that part. Okay, so let's get to Prisoner's Dilemma. And this is a game we're going to play, but let me describe how we play this game. So let's say you and I commit a crime together, maybe robbing a bank, and we get caught as we get away. But they don't have like definitive evidence that we are the one that actually committed the crime. So you and I are both caught and separated in a jail, and we're given so we can communicate, now that we're caught and separated. But the police tries to make us confess against each other. And here's the decision that they offer us. So each of us separately could either stay silent about the crime committed and try to save each other's butt. So one of the decisions we can make is to stay silent. Another decision we can make is to testify against our partner. So I might testify against you and you might testify against me in hopes to get a better deal in the sentencing. So here's what's going to happen. If one of us testifies and other one stays silent, the person who stayed silent is going to get 5 years in jail time, and the person who testified gets to go for free. So that's the best situation you can end up with no jail time. If we both stay silent, they don't have definitive evidence against us, but maybe they could charge us with something that's lighter. So we each get 1 year in prison for trespassing or something. If we both testify against each other, now they have substantial evidence to bust both of us, and we'll each get 3 years in prison. So that there are 3 possible outcomes, right? So if we both testify, we get 3 years each. If we both stay silent, we get 1 year each. If one of us testifies and the other one stays silent, the one who testified gets 0 years, and the person who stayed silent will get 5 years. Okay. So before we start playing this game with each other, try to think about what would you do in this situation? Do you think it's better to stay silent? So overall, in hope that overall both of us will get the least total amount of sentence, which is 1 year each, so 2 years total. Or is it better to testify in hopes that maybe I will not write you out and you'll get 0 years in prison and I have to serve 5. So it's a little bit selfish, but you'll get no prison time. By the way, this is a game, so don't feel like if you played and have to testify against me, like I'm not gonna hold a grudge or grade you less. So just the motivation, the goal is to get less jail time, but please don't feel like I'll hold a grudge. This is pre-recorded anyway, so I don't get to know how you played against me. Okay, so let's do a small analysis before we actually get started with the game itself. So there's 2 choices of what you could do and 2 choices of what I could do. So you can stay silent or testify. And let's just record what you would end up with against what I would do. So let's say, so the instructor, that's me, I could stay silent or I could testify. So the decision I make is up to me. You only have a choice between these 2 choices, and I'm gonna do what I want because we don't get to communicate, we're separated. So let's keep track of the possible jail sentence you'll get for each choice you make. So let's first assume that I'll stay silent. So if you also stay silent, you will get 1 year for yourself. If you testify, you'll get 0 years against yourself. So it is better for you to testify. You get 1 less year of sentencing if I stay silent. Let's now go to a parallel universe where I testify against you and you had no choice on the matter, right? Well, you could still decide to stay silent or testify. So if I had decided to testify and you stayed silent, you could possibly end up with 5 years in jail. Or if you decide to also testify, you'd still get 3 years in jail. So even in this scenario, you're getting less sentence if you testify, right? So you're either getting 5 years or 3 years. If you stay silent, you get 5. If you testify, you get 3 years. So again, even in this scenario, choosing to testify will get you less sentencing. So in this scenario, you get 1 less year in jail. In this scenario, you get 2 years less in jail. But either way, you're incentivized to testify. So it seems like we are encouraged to testify against each other, right? So, I mean, this was told from your point of view, but I'm facing the exact same dilemma on the other side of the wall. And putting aside like whether you like your partner or how much you trust each other, if you just look at the jail time for your own self, we're both encouraged to testify. So if we just go with just pure selfish, I want the less jail time, then we'll both encouraged to testify and end up with both ending up with 3 years of jail time. In total, that is the worst possible scenario, where the total jail times is 6 years if you add our jail time together. In every other situation, it's either 2 years or 5 years total jail time. So it's weird how we have this situation where we're both encouraged to testify, but overall, that is the worst decision that we'll end up with. So now that we analyzed that game where it seems like we should be testifying, let's play. But what I want to do is test 10 games in a row. So what you'll do is you need to either have this worksheet open and pause and be able to record how many years of sentence you get on each try, or if you have like a pad of paper and write down what you do at each and what kind of sentence, like a prison sentence you got for each game. Then we'll play 10 games, and I'll just I will show you my choice on video. I know you can totally cheat because this is a pre-recorded video, but I'm not going to grade you based on how well you did. So just be honest. I think it's more fun that way. Anyways, I hope that made sense. So pause your video if necessary, and we'll play this game one after the other. But before we start, I kind of want to make a plea against you, right? So if we're both selfish, we could end up with both 30 years in jail total, right? If we play 10 games and we both testify against each other. I don't want to do that. If we work together, we could get as little as 10 years each and 20 years total of jail time. So try to be less selfish and maybe maybe work with me. Anyways, let's play. So what I'll do is please make the decision and maybe write it down of what you're going to do before I show you the card. And once I show you the card, I'll give you a little bit of time to write down what your prison sentence you got from each of those choices. So let's play round one. Okay, so I've chosen my card, and here it is. Okay, so I chose the silent card, which means if you also chose the silent card, write down 1 year for your score here, or if you chose to testify, you can write down 0 years. Okay, round number 2. You made your decision, so this is my choice. Okay, so again, write down 1 or 0, depending on if you also chose silent, or if you testified, you can write down 0. So round number 3, this is my choice. Okay, like I'm trying to cooperate here, so you should also choose silent or not, or choose testify and get less jail time. So I write down 1 or 0 for that. And this is round number 4. This is my choice. Okay, write down 1 or 0. And this is my choice for round number 5. Okay, write down 1 or 0, depending on what you chose. And this is the choice for round number 6. Okay, write down 1 or 0. And this is my choice for round number 7. Okay, so I chose testify this time. So if you stayed silent, write down 5. If you also testified, write down 3 years in jail. Okay. Okay, so round number 7. This is my choice. Okay, so I testified again. So write down either 5 or 3. So 5 if you stayed silent, and 3 if you testified. And this is the round number 9. Okay, again, write down 5 or 3, depending on what you chose. And this is the last round. Okay, this is my choice for round number 10. I chose testify again. So write down 5 or 3, depending on if you stayed silent, write down 5, and if you chose testify, write down 3. So in the first 6 rounds, I chose silent, and the last 4 rounds, I chose testify. I don't know how you did, but write down the total number of years at this point. Okay. So this is actually something that a lot of different social scientists and mathematicians worked on. It's this prisoner's dilemma type of situation. It's a little contrived, but actually in society, there's a lot of situations where this actually occurs. For example, this was very popular during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So that was during the Cold War between US and Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union was trying to build lots of missile base in Cuba, and US in retaliation also wants to build missiles to protect ourselves against Cuba and Soviet Union. But if they both built missiles, like you're escalating the situation and it's getting worse and worse. But you don't want to be caught in a situation where you're not building missiles, but the other side is. Then you're definitely in a weaker position. So a lot of social scientists, they want the best outcome, right? So in a situation where we're both encouraged to make the worst overall decision, is there a way to encourage trust and build up goodwill and try to work together? And there was a big contest that Robert Axelrod conducted. So he tried to make, he called all the different experts in economics and mathematics and psychologists, and they said, hey, if you think you can try to play this repeated prisoner's dilemma type of situation, what would your strategy be? Please describe your strategy and then either write a computer code to implement that or just describe the strategy accurate enough so he can write down the code. And what he did was he made all the strategies play against each other and see what kind of strategy would do the best in a situation where we're all encouraged to take the bad action that hurts other people, but maybe try to build up trust. And I'm not sure what kind of situation you could come up with on your own. Maybe you can pause the video and think about it. But I can describe to you what kind of program won. It was very easy to describe. So what won the contest is what's called tit for tat strategy. So what you do first on this repeated game of Prisoner's Dilemma, just like the one we played. On the first move is to stay silent. So you started out doing good, and for every round from then on, you just repeat the thing the other player did the previous round. So if they also stay silent, stay silent. And if they testified against you in the previous round, you testified against them in the next round. And you keep repeating that. So you just do what the other person did against you. So imagine playing against this game against somebody who is trustworthy and who is willing to stay silent as long as you are. Then you could cooperate with those type of people. But if you have a program that it's going to testify against you no matter what, then it plays good defense, right? So if they testify, then on the first round you might get got, but after that you could just kind of, if they keep testifying against you, you can testify against them. So it just plays good defense, right? If it's able to cooperate, if it's able, if the opponent is wanting to, but if they're not willing to play, it still plays good defense. So that was the finding that the Robert Axelrod had, is to, in a situation like that, do tit for tat, like one good deed deserves another, but if they come against you, it's eye for an eye, you'll punish them, but no more than necessary. So if they testify against you once, you testify against them once, and then go back to silent if they are willing to go back to that, right? So it's also able to forgive the other player if they start playing next. I hope you found that interesting. I think it's an interesting situation as well. Okay, so I wanna move on to a different game theory type of situation. So let me describe this next situation. So before we go there, I want to describe one game theory terminology called Nash equilibrium. So Nash equilibrium is a situation where the players know each other's strategy and choices, but you don't want to change your own. So it's so for prisoner's dilemma situation, both players picking testify is a Nash equilibrium, because if you know that the other person is choosing to testify, you don't want to change it. Like, you're going to testify against them. And even if they both know it, they don't want to change their strategy, right? It's not the fact that you don't know what the other person does that's preventing you from going to change your mind. It's even if you know it, you don't want to move. So that's called Nash equilibrium. So let's try to come up with this type of situation in a business setting. So let's say you have beach. So let's say this is sandy beach, and this is the ocean. Okay. So let's say this beach is 1 kilometer long, and you wanna set up an ice cream business. So if you're the only person on the beach selling ice cream, where would you be? So a reasonable place to choose is to build your ice cream store like halfway through the beach, right? Exactly in the middle. So people have the least amount to walk to get there. So that's just common sense so far. But let's say your decision depends on other people's decision as well. So let's say there's another ice cream vendor who wants to do the same thing. So they want to build ice cream store somewhere along the beach, and you also want to build an ice cream vendor somewhere along this 1 kilometer stretch. So there's two there. So where do you think you should build it to be cooperative? So to split the profits and be an even playing field. So try to come up with a proposal you might make to the other ice cream vendor where you should build so that we can split nicely. Let's question here. Okay, but so now let's see if this is a Nash equilibrium. So I assume you try to split it. So that maybe you'll make, there's a couple of different ways you might have split it, but one possible way is to split the ice cream vendor exactly this way. So you split the beach in half and you build in halfway through your side of the beach, and maybe give the other vendor a place to build an ice cream vendor halfway through the other half of the beach. So that's one way to do it. Maybe you split it in 1/3, 2/3. That's totally okay. But let's try to see, is this a Nash equilibrium? So if you knew that the other vendor is located there at the 3/4 along the beach, can you benefit from moving your store in this situation? So assuming that every beach goer goes to the closest store, are you encouraged in the situation to move elsewhere? Um, and does the other vendor feel the same way? Like, if you are playing nice, maybe you'll stay at one quarter, and let's say you tell your competitor that you'll build your ice cream vendor there, are they encouraged to change their mind about where they are, and by moving, can they benefit more? And you might realize that moving your store closer to the center, no matter where the other person is, will give you a little bit more business for yourself. Because if, let's say, you move your store to halfway through the beach, and assuming that beachgoers will go to the closest ice cream vendor, then now you'll split the beach like this. Right? So you'll get your half of the beach and some more. Um, so it's not, I guess the most efficient way to split the beach is not a Nash equilibrium. So try to think a little bit more and see if you can recommend what would be the Nash equilibrium state in this case. So what is the situation where you or the vendor do not want to change the movement, no matter what, no matter if they knew if the other person is gonna, so no matter what, if you knew the other person is going to place their store, I guess. And then try to convince me that your decision is a Nash equilibrium. Okay. So I hope you found this question interesting, because this is a situation where it's kind of, you're encouraged to do something that is not the best overall. So it's not best for you or your competitor, because you can move and you could be gaining more business. And it's not good for the beachgoers either, right? Because if both of you are incentivized to go towards the middle, then that means the beachgoers have to walk a little bit further to reach the center, even though there's two vendors available. Anyways, I hope you found this subject interesting. I think I'm gonna end my video here, and I'll see you in the other video.